I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I mean we have multiple width fitted available. If you have a need for specific footwear, let Jess know, because we have a stock service in the Netherlands. The only thing is that those models in the Netherlands are certified to European standards, not Singapore standards. The products we supply you now and the ones that are coming are all both European and Singaporean standards approved. So, but I saw yesterday when I was out with Tony, we saw some shoes that were just only certified to European standards. They didn't have the local standards, but I think that the customer in that case was selling it in that knowledge. You know, he knows it's only certified to European standards. I guess he passes that on to his customer. But we like to internationally get the local certification as well. So in Australia, there's a separate certificate there, so we have Australian standards. In Canada, it's separate again. In South America, it's different again, and Australia and South America, everything has to have a leather lining, no fabric lines. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is behind that, but every footwear certified in South America has to have a leather lining. So it can vary a bit around the place. Largely, it's getting more uniform. You know, there's a lot of consistencies now between the different standards. You know, the level of testing is very similar, so it's not widely different. I think Singaporean standards, European standards are very close, Australian and European very close. So yeah, it's, I think they're trying to make it more uniform because we're an international world now. People are moving around and working, taking their shoes with them. So.
Maybe I have feedback from a customer who is using Abu Dhabi, saying that water seeps into the safety boots through the thread hole.
Through the
thread hole.
Oh, the thread.
Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
do you have similar feedback?
No, but it is possible to change that very easily. Yes, I mean what we can do. This can be a water-resistant thread. You can have a waterproof thread. It's possible to change it. That might be something we can just do for the Abu Dhabi for Singapore.
Because you will use waterproof thread.
Yeah, there is a waterproofing process for thread. The thread is a very low cost in the shoe. The stitching is very low cost, so we can have flame resistant thread is very low cost to introduce. Waterproof thread is very low cost to introduce. So maybe you know, reach out to Jess and we can just change the state. We can just make a running change. That's very easily done. Yeah, I mean there is a perforation, there is a needle hole, there is a thread there. It's possible that the fluid could get away.
So it's more probable that the water seeping due to the thread material rather than the thread hole being too big.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think it's the material. With the waterproof thread, there's a sort of a seam as well, and it's stitched. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. You know, in Europe we have some Gore-Tex line products, so we have a waterproof product. Generally speaking, you know, with workmates, you have now the water resistant, so there is water resistance, but not waterproof. For true waterproof, you have to have some sort of membrane, some sort of.
Abu Dhabi it's not tested to water resistant, right?
Sorry, say again.
The Abu Dhabi is not even tested to water resistant.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's tested to S1P.
S2 and S3 gives you the water resistance.
It's because of the leather or really?
Yeah, the type of leather. The type of leather. Yeah. So, I mean, this collection here with the printed leather. The reason that printed leather is used commonly, it's very popular. When you source and buy leather, it's graded by the quality of the leather, the scarring, the marks in the leather. You know, that actually affects the price more than anything else. And this is a printing process. So scarred leather, if you print it, it hides the scars, but it becomes more cost effective. So it makes the product more economically interesting. So we use this a lot, and competitors do as well, because pebble leather is really just disguising any blemishes in the leather. But there's a minimum thickness requirement for standards as well, 1.8 to 2.2 mil, so we comply with that, so everything conforms. You know, the standard's pretty thorough. It tests, you know, the shoes across all levels of what we put in that presentation. Summary of some of the tests that we do. Yeah, so So this is for the EN standard. This is some of the tests that are done to conform. So up to sole bond strength, outsole density, midsole density, the abrasion resistance of the sole material, the pull strength of the laces. They're tested for the strength of pulling on the eyelets, the flex resistance, the oil and acid resistance of the sole material. So PU and rubber have the oil and acid resistance, so all the sole types that you put in there. The impact and resistant compression test on the steel toe comprehension, the drop test, the penetration resistance of the midsole where it's applicable, and the anti-static properties where applicable. So that's just an indication of some of the ongoing testing. You know, when we launch a new collection, we get the collection initially tested and approved. But after that, in the production process, ongoing, there's an ongoing certification process. In the Netherlands, we have our own laboratory, SATRA approved laboratory within our business, so we're doing a lot of ongoing testing there on site. But yeah, there's a very thorough process. I mean, you'll see in the market competitive products, and it's always good to know, how well certified they are. You know, there's a label in each of the shoes that gives you these are samples. You might not have it. They're just sample labels. But on the tongue, usually there's a descriptive label that tells you the specification and the standards that are being conformed to. So it's always nice to refer to that. Go with confidence with the Bata products that we won't say that it's not certified. That's something we do.
Actually, the same customer also complained that the thread breaks easily. They are actually comparing with previous model that they have been using, same inks and crusher. So they did say that Abu's thread breaks easily.
Okay. Generally, it's not an issue that I'm saying, Jess. But if it's maybe workplace specific, this boot is used in welding environments sometimes. I'm not sure if that's the case there, but if there's any sort of heat exposure here, but we can, as I say, we can review that. It's a very small cost. It wouldn't affect the sell price. The sell price would stay the same. We just absorb the cost if we change the stitching to either waterproof or heat resistance for the different models. That's quite possible.
So we do understand that different environment and application will determine the shelf life of the shoe. But typically, as a Bata man, what would you tell your customer the typical shelf life of a Bata?
Yeah, look, in normal environments, 12 months is reasonable to expect. In harsh environments, 6 months. But it does, you're so right, Jess. I mean, we're loath to put that on the box because people take that as read. They wear the wrong shoe in the wrong application. It fails after 3 months. Well, on the box it says 6 months or 12 months. So we have to use a bit of common sense approach with it. But I think in normal conditions, in a normal environment, 12 months is really a reasonable expectation. I mean, I honestly, sometimes I'm amazed, we saw some pricing yesterday through one of the B2C customers, and it's very competitive. When you compare what's in a Bata industrial safety shoe and all the standards testing, all the certification, the different additional points in that shoe, and you compare it to retail shoes, it's fantastic value. It really is fantastic value. But that's retail getting away with things. The new, these new screen-printed lightweight joggers are selling at extraordinary prices. They're so cheap to make. It's just they spend it in marketing. Let's put it that way. Let's just say that. But I still think the Bata offer is, you saw in the video that the ethos really from the early days, the founder wanted to make footwear more available for the general public and more accessible, more price effective. And that sort of ethos has played out through the history of Bata right through to today, where we consider our footwear good quality, value for money footwear. I think even when I've looked at retail here, I've looked at the Bata stores, I usually go look when I'm here in Singapore. And the price of the Bata shoes is good value compared to what I see in competitor stores. So I think that ethos plays out well.
I'm trying to collect back the defective shoe for Abu Dhabi.
Yes,
Maybe
I'd like
arrive
to
back
see
in
it.
time, then we can have a look.
Yeah, I'd like to have a look, yes, sure. But if you have any specific requests, we're global, as you know. We have products that we sell into multiple markets. If you have something specific, if you have a major customer looking for, a white catering shoe or whatever it might be, I don't think it might be here, but you'll have something perhaps that's quite specific. Let us know because it may already be available in the Bata collection. Something we can help with.
Generally, the service life, we call it, is 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
So, what is the shelf life? What's the recommended shelf life that for the Bata goods?
Well, I would
Because
say,
there are some customers they usually referring to the so-called manufacturing.
yeah, there's a warranty.
Not really the warranty. I'm not too sure. Maybe, say for example, we deliver to customer in already half of maybe 1 year after the manufacturing date or 2 years, then 2 years after.
Oh, the shelf life of
The
the
shelf
shoes,
life,
yeah.
not the service life.
No, it's a, I know what you're saying. You're in a fairly unique situation in Singapore because there is a process that occurs with polyurethane soles, not purely Bata, but polyurethane soles across all of our competitor products as well. Because this is a cellular structure, the dual density, the structure is cellular. In hot, humid conditions, which Singapore definitely ticks the box with, hydrolysis can occur. And it's something to be wary of. After a period, there's no prescribed date that on this specific date this is what will happen. It's depending on the way the shoe's been treated through its life. But here you refrigerate. I know you have cool conditions here in the warehouse for some of the footwear, but your customers probably don't, and they need to be rotating their stock. I mean, I think generally after 2 years you need to be wary, just as a rule of thumb sort of guide.
After 2 years.
Yeah, but it can vary on how the shoe's been stored and looked after. But then when hydrolysis does happen, then the sole will crack and it will crumple and it doesn't look very good. But you can assure your customers it's not a Bata problem, it's a PU problem, if you like. I mean, you're going to have a solution here with pigs. If you have a customer that's highly sensitive about it, rubber is not prone to that, and the file. So this, you're not going to have that issue with pigs at all. So soon you'll have something that you can guarantee is not going to be prone to hydrolysis. But there's a different price point, so you've got to weigh that up as well.
Let's say if for rubber, so the recommended shelf life would be longer?
In terms of hydrolysis, yes, it's not going to be affected. So yeah, the shelf life is certainly not good. PU, you just have to be very conscious of hydrolysis and your location. We don't have a problem with PU with hydrolysis in Europe. It just doesn't get hot enough for long enough, so it's not an issue. In Australia, we had to be aware of it, particularly in northern Australia, in the hotter climates. Here in Singapore, yeah, you're in a danger zone for hydrolysis, I have to say. But the best thing to do is ensure your customers are rotating stock. I know that you're rotating stock very quickly here and replenishing the stock here. So I think the stock leaving here is fresh. It's fresh from factory to here. I think you've got to take it fairly quickly here and send it out. So it's then what your customer is doing with it.
It's only for some of the odd sizes, for common sizes. I think
Yeah.
it's extremely
Yeah, and it's usually the extreme sizes, and you do get customers that don't rotate. The new stock comes in, just sits in front of the old stock. If you get the opportunity to check, it's always worth checking. I used to have to check it in Australia with some of our major customers because they're big organisations. You've got a storeman that's not responsible for the commercial activities, just putting stuff away, and he's just doing the easiest thing, putting it right at the front. So when you get to the old stuff that's 3 or 4 years old, then it's a problem. I've got somewhere, I've got to find it, I haven't got it with me here, but somewhere I've got an explanation of hydrolysis. But if I email it through to you, just to share with you, it's something that you can then give to your customers. It's not a Bata document, it's just a summary of what hydrolysis is and what causes it, and that might be interesting just to pass on, just so customers are well informed as well.
How about if the customer is they are wearing on a daily basis, but will hydrolysis still happen?
It's more when it's flexed and worn, it should be okay. It's when it's stored and it's sitting stationary, that's when hydrolysis really kicks flexing. With flexing and movement, it's
Plus, we still have a lot of feedback that even despite wearing them every day, the soles still disintegrated just for even they are fairly new stock. So do you think it's because of the harsh environments that is quickening this process?
Yeah, I mean it's best to backtrack if you get something like that. So is to get on the label amongst the standards certification, etc. There's a production date, which is it might be say 06/16, which is June 2016, but it's just a date. You'll see it. It's on all my footwear, and that will tell you when they were made. It's best to just check that because even though the customer is rating them new and they're new to him, maybe they have been on the shelf for a while before he's actually put them on his feet. The process is still sort of initiating.
But is it possible that this happened for a pair of new shoes?
Shouldn't be happy with new product. The polyurethanes are being improved all the time. In line with this toe cap development we're doing in Europe, we're actually looking at a new polyurethane mix in our production there, which actually also improves the weight. But we're looking at lifespan as well, any improvement we make there. But if I'm honest, for Europe, where we sell most of the shoes we make in the Netherlands, hydraulics is not an issue. Just we have summer is 2 days in July every year. The rest is rain, cloud, or slightly warm. So I find that the hydraulics is fraction.
It's just like a shoe.
The shoes that were 3-4 months old, very new stock.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thanks for your time. Yeah, appreciate it.